Hello. How is everyone? Well, I just found out yesterday somebody is making copies of my work because I've been copying everything. But anyways, everything is in Facebook. My best friends can see it, and I will just have to continue anyways. Unfortunately, this is what you get for trusting. So I was doing the analytics on the groups, and what is happening right now with the problems of the system within the program of the computer format of the venue, of how all the stories are linked together, how they can automatically get linked without having to click everyone and certain things, is that the scenarios have to be drafted, no? So for example, if you have all these scenarios, let's say, yeah, and they are split it by verses and all these things and kind of nature, what you have is I'm very square, but then I have this abstract part of me where I build and rebuild by colors. So it's kind of like you have the underworld and then you have the upper world, but at the same time you have the time of creation through history, where the Titans had all the this like the congregation of the universe, planets, whatever is explosion, or in the Bible or the Quran, but all that melts through a big pot of science that is with all the chemistry from the microbiotic of the beginning of Earth, from the gases and all that, because they say, oh, well, we're all Illuminati, right? We all came out from the fish and started scrolling up with the spine like reptiles or fishes. This is not about any theories. This is about writing and studying real things and mythological or anything, abstract thing. So with the groups, you have all this that's before the beginning of humanity, okay? And it's also inside the underworld. Okay, we just have the pyramids, right? And this is like, let's say, the river Styx. In mythology, in many mythologies, in all of them, there's a river or a stream. In the Quran, it's a stream, a water stream that you cross through. But this is just a picture. It's just an abstract picture. And then you have the future, which are the sky, the planets, and as we are discovering more planets and going farther, what is framed through history of how much are we conquering and discovering. And all that is pictured through groups in my mind, of course. I've been 2 years trying to make role players do stages in the groups that mean a scenario. Okay, from role play to virtual reality, when you're creating all these scenarios, it's not just random chaos without rules. No, what you're doing is what it is, and that's what dictates the rules. So if you have chaos, that's what reigns. But of course, there needs more people to put all the apples together, to put people together, to do things together. Otherwise, just, keep reposting and make believe, they're famous and all that, right? 'Cause at the end of the story, everyone needs to write so much stories, and it will keep on from just coding pages into a virtual reality. So I'm not sharing too much, am I? So anyways, this is what I'm writing today, and it's really like calming down slowly to rewrite everything in a more pragmatic way, because synthesizing the frame of each part in history, you need like a Wikipedia or a graded chart to see in an algorithm all the characters that are being played, the characters that have been passed from player to player, because one thing is a player, which is a writer or composer, and to trust a person to carry your character, you have to give it to this person, or they create their own little multi-universe there, which maybe is just a little world or a little kingdom. Maybe a university wants to do a class with only their students and they don't want to mix with people. Or maybe there is people who want to randomly open up and learn, and then they just start from whatever scratch, or maybe they become super cool and they're found, or all these things already that we know, we could imagine, are a glimpse of a start of a new breath that is already happening. It's just the format what I'm trying to bring here, which is the, is the multi-diverse quality of many script writers who are directing their stories from their own perspective. I am writing every day, more or less, and it composes into a much greater format where I have to discriminating which chapter and subtitle and theme and sub-theme goes for the quality of a program to work, for the scientific evidence and proof that I find every time that these things are happening. This happens, every time this happens, this happens. This is why this, there is this one, this, that. And this is not creating rules. This is just like scientists do. They just, they just note down what happens when they do an experiment, and they can theorize what will happen. But then you have to prove it. And time proves itself as well. So you need time also to really say, okay, we tested like 600 people through 20 years and no one died. So meanwhile, what are we doing? We are the monkeys and rabbits in the laboratory, and we are experimenting with ourselves as, just call it, role players. So I wish I had no enemies. I wish I don't have people, attacking me. I just wish my space to keep clearly working on this and feel grateful that we're moving through a generation of expression and arts and skills to relate through the maximum violence you can take, because it's virtual, it's fiction, but there is a law. And this, I want to make it very clear that today I am alive, and tomorrow I will keep being alive, but one day we will die. And we want to keep very clear, and I don't care to be judged by crazy or anything, but there is a quantum role to role play where you have an energy of writing, and then you have a real life where you're working. So every vibrational match is happening. Some people don't work, so they are just in their internet crazy world, but they don't have values to understand what's the gravity of matter. And when you are entering into antimatter and matter, there is a zigzag going on there. And sometimes it's not you, it's just your imagination. Sometimes it's your own traumas. Sometimes are your projection, your dreams. Sometimes, in my particular way, this is what I have to disconnect, is what I feel from the media, the news. So, it's normal that I would get paranoid. Who wouldn't get paranoid in the middle of a pandemic? Trying to sleep a lot and just, pray. So society keeps trusting, working, and volunteering, and trusting, asking help, and trusting in the human interaction, which is my work through real life and role play, is a human interaction, which is role playing. Role playing is through characters and fiction. Human interaction is reality, how we behave and relate, and the environment, which is also that. But the environment, the environment, my real life is for recycling. So the things that I am doing in the trials that I do is really for the environment of the earth. I mean, you have a multinational doing things, and you're talking with professionals. We are the Western world, so we know how to talk with each other before going to trials and doing deals. Takes months. When you are with a multinational, it's not only national. They're just now. It's after 2 years and exposed in 2 months, 3-4 months. Oh, another 5 months. It's just now getting to the head office that has to go to the international office. So these are movements that you have protocols, and it takes time, and it's like the weather changes, you have a cycle that changes too, and you have a prognostic, and this happen if it continues this way, and well, it might rain or not, but it's humidity in the air. So that's what we're doing right now. For me to discover that we're all together in this boat and learning, achieving, and trying to define the rules of role play, for me, has been really much I'm participating less to note down. So I giving kind of delegated and just allow myself to be completely submerged in the watcher in this galaxy of role play. Let's call it like that, because it's this multidimensional, universal, multi-universal. And keep on. Right now, it's like a new world which doesn't even exist, and there's all these little kids in the kindergarten running and doing whatever they want. And I feel like I am not gonna correct these kids. I already have the formula. So it's very intricate in its design. I would have wished to come out to the light and say, okay, this is it. But everyone in the future will have to work their path. You can go and have a book. You can go and read the rules of role play. They can be registered. They can have a patent. You can, but you can't trick the law. This is the problem. This is why I'm so relaxed about it. I'm not saying everything, because of course then it's just really but it's already. It's already. I cannot really express how much you can get from your own experience. And there is so much going on for the future generation to do through virtual reality. It's going to move so fast that once your system is in absolute control, awareness, right? Because you have to do meditation and exercise with the body to understand what defines control from awareness, because of course it makes you feel your own power. But when you are at the same time on that frequency of power as an observer, and at the same time moving with your body as part of it, the wave, let's call it like that, you have the dance of the movement in it, right? Because it's not just really like you open the book and then you go there and you're like, okay, now I'm going to go through hell. Okay, let's go. No, you're really going to go through all those emotions. And you might feel torture, like if it's in your body. And it's not, it's virtual. You're not having nothing, you're not having blood, but why are you feeling as if it's real? So when you're going into a group, it has to be real. It has to, like in film, you can, in science fiction, there are words that define what is like, oh, you can be ultimate and all that, but you at the same time you are forming a reality. So as much fiction is there, that's a real, and that's what the picture shows, a reality. So every group will be charted. I am doing all the statistics and all the things and the crews of it, and everyone could see it in their own as well. Better with the program, of course. It turns to make it easier for the player and to visualize and to make all the protocols and to make the beauty of the movement, that it can be accidental, it can rotate, it can transform, it can kill yourself. Because all these psychological relations, one split you from one another in that relation. Okay, let's say a character that is a killer will also feel the pain, but it's feeling it from the other perspective, which is whatever. More perverse, less innocent. It needs the innocent. It needs to think, to release this power or to enjoy, but at the same time is the hollowness. So you have all these psychological traits, all this music around it, all this heartbeat and rhythm in the colors or whatever. So the intensity of the picture that you're moving or and you are creating visually and with the sound, because that's what you do as a role player. You get the soundtrack. I was the one bringing the soundtrack. It was just really, really ridiculous because I only had a link. You had to just go to that link and open another window. It was really old. But I wish to be more trusting that we can do this together without having to recover from people that are attacking me. And it will always keep a secret. Maybe these videos will be taken out of YouTube one day. Maybe they continue. Right now is a form of virtually sharing what is groups and the charts and how is that multidimensional board and how I can work in an inside roleplayer.me or myspace.com. It used to work without the streams. So what happened when Facebook brought the streams, MySpace made stream as well. At the time there was no really copyright to sue anyone from what they copied. It was a long time ago. Internet needs to flow and needs to copy and inspire, but there are certain laws that will not allow you. And if people cannot copy, there is not much evolution as well. But you need a certain law that helps a little bit more of integration to move faster in a more productive way with much optimization. That's what I want to really be. And everyone needs to really be working in reality, making a better world, and at the same time seeing the frequencies. When you are editing, you don't call it a frequency. What you call it is a transition. So when you're making transition from scene to scene or from shot to shot, the shots that are being made on film from the cameras are made from angles and perspective within the same scenario. When the scenario changes, you also change the field and the light, which is the kind of like the color density of the light and dark for the photography. So you have interior or exterior, the name of the place. What you have is night or day, which will define more or less for, you're just defining to all the crew what they need to do, and they figure out what they have to do. So, okay, for me, it's easy. My father was a film director, a script writer, journalist of politics. and also wrote a book based on religion, based on the Bible for today, something like that. So for me, it was very easy to understand this from a small age, that we need certain things like soundtrack things. Oh, it's being copied, it's being inspired. It's kind of like, okay, I invented it. Well, I am moving on. Things we're learning. Why did I do it first? Someone would do it first, but we're all in the same boat. So when you understand the importance of the scenario and the group, is the moment when you understand that all the movement through all the players will have its systematic frequency or sequence. All right, because what's going to happen if you have everything contained in one group? What's happening today? This can go into the dark pages of history, because hopefully only ignorant people will end up doing that. Like some people kill each other, some countries, and I'm not going to exclude myself because my father was murdered in Venezuela. So, and I'm not here as an immigrant. I came here to England to boarding school in Devon, and I went to the School of the Princes in Spain. So I was in New York City. So it's not that I'm a Spanish immigrant or a Mexican, as I've been insulted from this cycle. Whatever. All this will go through the dark pages of history. People will be able to recognize and define themselves through a high quality of role play, which is being by glimpse. We had that a lot. It was a continuous boom, 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 boom. And it was very easy because we were only a few. So it was very easy. Okay, this is this group, this is the others. It was very kind of like groupy. I was kind of like having a character everywhere, more or less, or private, whatever. A bunch of things happening with hackers and breaks. So, okay, it's just human in evolution, and this is what happens when people are creating things. So all the drama is going in the storyline. And when you have the capacity to keep all that with all the formats of the protocols and the steps and stages, then is when you can really jump from character to character and continue in that high frequency of adrenaline that I miss, because I'm absolutely a junkie of role play, and I will go totally delusional if I miss my role play adrenaline. I wish I could role play like before. Not right now. It's just a lot of millennials and women who want to get married and are after satisfying other people just to belong there, and you just keep working and trying to, like, I am a woman. I love to belong to and get married, and I love to trust. But that's another theme. That's another theme where women must learn how to love universally from each character, and allow writers to expose. Because I also have my male characters who need a wife. Like, hello, I also have my monsters and their, fat beasts that exist in worlds that nobody knows. And they also like their relation as well. Like, I have my secrets. I have each character have their own version of their own life, and are totally separate and excluded from other themes, groups, or what's going on, and writers. So then people do whatever they want, and they have their agreements if they want or not. But this is the world of role play. I'm not teaching role play. I'm just defining the rules of role play, which will be discussed on and on and on and on, hoping we'll make a better world and keep traveling, conquering our own environment with our environment. You have to learn to see things like they are your temple. You learn to appreciate the work of others as your own. You understand the importance of whom you are, because after playing so many roles, you understand the history of your DNA. You can even understand without really much information, because it comes times when you realize that being a creator is being creation itself. So you become very humble and you become very intrigued to know what's going to be out there for you. That's part of a role play, because you cannot come to control. So that's what defines back again when you're totally loose, not lost. Story when a character that is for the river Styx can define what the lost souls are, and there are many levels of her lost souls in her river. But there is a definition that is being loose, totally loose, and trusting in what not they're doing only, but what's happening around. What will be the best method to play that role? I find out that playing death, life, all kinds of things. It's just part of a rotation and allowing a lot of spaces to move on in a stronger frequency, because that's what you really, really want. You want the board to move on faster and better, with better quality. Intensity is a power that can destroy and transform. And when you're an architect, when you have engineers in your family, I have few engineers in my family, women too, who were, you call them organizers or producers. My mother. Anyway, it can go into tribal ancestors, right? In other ways, because a Black person in an African tribe also has a certain management about who are they going to eat, what are hunting, the timing to feed all the family in the tribe. So they might not have economical money, but they do have their management of how to engineer and work all this. If it's monotonous through centuries, or if it's through invention. So when you're finding the nature of all these things to build this, is when you are understanding the channels and frequencies of all these plays that are taking form. How can you just help for a bridge to be constructed so it can pass from here to there? So that's kind of like the basis that I'm talking about in the collective of the community of role play. For each base, and 2 years trying for this to happen. It's very hard for players to get out of their group, and they say, "Oh no, because it's your group, and I really own to you." Okay, but there should be other bases, there are other scenarios, so it just keeps rolling really through what's another scenario, right? Because okay, you're gonna play also the villain and this, and okay, it doesn't matter who plays what, let's say, but let's say there is a real thing going on and it looks more real, is more real. You cannot really control it all aboard. And one of the most beautiful things to do is to keep studying, keep researching. I love that, man. It's like being a hoarder of information. Which pretty soon will be really credited. Because what happens when you have a character that's credited, right? You can pass this, and then this character, because really, some characters have a voice of their own, and they need to say something, right? So you study all these characteristics, and when you get to see the this character, okay, has nothing. Then you find out through history, you are then like, oh man, this is, but you're then later like, that's why I left. But it's not right in the book, but you kind of understand why I left, right? Because as a thinker, you see, and a role play, you can see other parts of the story that could not have been written, but you can imagine, and you are like, wow, that's so strong, but I cannot write it. It's just kind of like, give it away. Move to next. Sometimes for me, understanding a story or history, because there is stories that are based on history and there are stories that are based on myths or stories, right? Like comic stories are not myth, but they're kind of like freaky stories. So when you are this translation of meanings that's working in your brain through a certain imaginary, sometimes they are like going deep into a trauma, right? So of course, if you're a great thinker that can go and understand really the problem to solve something, you have to go through the problem in order to solve something. You can have a solution for something, but then you have to go study the problem to get there, right? So, you can be very positive and I want this, and then you have to kind of like maintain this within you and outside of you, and still, elaborating all this. That is like a trauma, because you can imagine that this has been going maybe before you were born and you were traumatized, right? And you can imagine, oh my God, this comes from you can imagine anything you want that's related through any trauma, because we are related to the same feelings. So more or less, it's kind of like, oh my God, I never went through a war that I can remember. No, I never went. But there's still wars happening right now in this world. And your ancestors did, and maybe some story that passed through, and it's like, wow, like it is really and it's great to have all this like warrior thing going on as well, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't like to be eaten by a lion. And sometimes like, okay, maybe I could role play that as well, Imagine yourself being food for a dragon. And, and you just become another character again. But in your reality, you become more cautious with what you say. If you have a meeting with a CEO that is being already, I made very serious boards for these CEO meetings. In real life, it's projecting this thing, but then you become very serious, and there's all tight, and nobody really knows you. You have all your makeup. Cannot see anymore. So this is who I am, and I'm so tired. In the future, you will see how more or less it's starting, so you don't really need much to say anything. Like, these books are made with so much silence. And the silence is what helps you to determine a much better reality and high quality, because it's the studious mind that you get from the back side of your brain is where you make your final decisions and values. It's like going to the vaults of a bank, and you have safeguard all this information there, which is not primitive, it's gold. You're saving gold there. And that's where you make your investments through your deep thinking It gets a lot of time of doing these negotiations within your mind and people. And this is what brightens the climax through understanding investments and relating through doing things in these worlds, because you have to be very gentle and delicate in order to choose these words. You don't want to hurt a business proposal. You don't want you want people to understand what really matters for them, what they're working for in not only a company but a huge body that's moving with not thousands of people but hundreds of thousands. So these decisions are being made by top leaders that manage millions, and I'm this little ant there. And because what you really see in the, this is the problem that happens everywhere, right? So just fix a little problem and then it's like a big mosaic is already everywhere working more fluently with the help of human interaction. That's what I love about the military, because they're so integrated together to do what they have to do, and they really have to think by themselves when they are in the front lane. It's not sometimes that's another world. We have to have many works in the virtual reality as well, but not just like in the video game shooting and picking your arms and just talking all like really much more deep of thought and moving, not just moving your finger. I mean, you can move it very fast to shoot more. And that's the difference when you have writing group, because when you have these groups or scenarios and you're moving into virtual reality, you're kind of more like, it's so different. It's like, okay, I have to stand up with my glasses. Like, why do I need glasses? Really? So they will have to really create something else where you can deepen your mind, because it's not the same when you're working with your forehead. When you're working with the back of your brain, you can digest better words, and it just comes from such a high quality because there is more space there. The front is more aggressive and fast and very analytical in a fast way, but is depending of the system, it's not very profound. Sometimes I think, okay, sometimes you might come from work and you don't feel like standing up and doing virtual reality, which is kind of like to put your body through that, and seeing another reality is very different apart from what is writing and listening to music and studying in order to compose, which takes, maybe it's different for everyone. Takes for me, it takes 7 hours, 5 hours to choose the right tune of music. I'm looking for the music. Each character and verse has its own tune of music or background musics, but sometimes this particular character is synchronizing with a certain emotion, and of course, dramatic. So you're looking for that, those tunes, and getting inspired with the research of the visuals and just random things going on in your mind. You're not recomposing, you're just in that umbral of imagination. And taking notes and words too sometimes. I really love that space. For me, it's like being in a bar, because I am totally listening to people's music. people's illustration. I'm a painter too. I don't have time now to be investing my time through painting. My father said, if you can paint, you can direct me, because it's composing as well. What is the picture? And he showed me so much. She showed me so much that I wish for him to see. I hope my son can teach me as well. I keep learning. It's like my nerve system is stopping me from so much going on, because it's really like, in a personal level, like court cases, deals with my work, could end up anywhere. Here is, and then the less I need is a psycho, like person just saying, stop copying my characters. And let me keep being creative, right? So I'm having the trigger to learn something, and when I get into that space of learning, I have to open my heart again from my nearly 1 year of being a cocoon, and say, okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Let's see you in another chapter. It's just very hard to think that somebody wants to harm you or hurt you and copy everything you do, and think they're going to get away without the law. If you want to teach and be part, you're welcome. If you want to be creative, you're welcome. If you want to copy and do your own, you're welcome. I'm not sharing everything with you. I am sharing so little. I have done so much work already that no one can really. It's not only that. It's not only writing on paper. It's been stolen. I've been writing it again. It's the money. It's the effort. It's the heart of trusting and transforming. Because when they're giving you this, and then you transform it. If I feel pain, I transform it. You have to have a lot of hardcore. It's like the same energy of a murder, but you're transforming it, and it's going inside of you, creating something new out of it. And processing this, you need to flow a lot. You need to drink a lot of water. You need to exercise. You need to have your bath. If you don't elaborate your vegetables and eat fresh and cook or do gardening, you might do other things, exercise. Whatever you do is happening through you, and is at the same time purifying your body. And with what you do, you can see, okay, I can put this compost here and it will be wonderful for my it's just not going to go and trash it into somebody's face, because we are taught to be able to discriminate and associate. This goes here, this goes there. And sometimes you don't have boundaries, all goes crazy, and then you're again, okay. I need to teach Africans and our superior. We're all in the same boat. I just happened to know before, because I was in an English boarding school that recycled 30 years ago. So, they were not recycling in Spain. But I learned. So it doesn't matter. We're all living in this generation. More or less, we get to learn the same things. And when you get to learn the same things, you're building something together. So we don't need to feel attacked if somebody's Arab and they think I want to turn them into Christianism. They have this belief system. So I am kind of like, it's just about recycling. We're all the world learning to recycle. And, they might scream at you because you're also a woman. So then again and again, and again, and then you pass again. And I clean all my neighborhood. I do local volunteering. I talk with not the government, but the council, which is the government. But I volunteer and I try to help my locality, the teenagers, and little things that we are as a human being. And this is our role play with the humanity as humans. We cannot become artificial intelligence. You put nanotechnology inside of us to reproduce and even make our DNA better without traumas. Because who wants traumas, right? Yeah. But we need darkness and we need passion and we need to understand all these colors. You know, there's some things that can't happen ever again in the future. We don't want children to be raped. We don't want abuse to let's say mothers, because if you're a woman, you can walk out, right? Okay, you want to fight, but at least if it's consented, you choose to be there. Okay, you like S&M, go there, go do whatever you want. But there's certain things, because mothers are vulnerable. They need father, family, or government. So there are many things. And I am also vulnerable. So I am also part of the vulnerable, and the artist and the genius from the new generation. I'm a mother and a woman. And in the future, we will have a lot of things going on through darkness. Of course, if you are innocent to agree to things that you don't know, I guess you will have to learn with your free will and consciousness to do it better. If you can do something better for this world, nobody needs to sacrifice for anyone, not even for oneself. Those old age of Christianism will transform into a wide perspective, where one time was a Jesus who came, but for freedom and love, and then you have so many visionaries, and then you have so many people around the world, and you have so much talent going on, that you kind of love to learn all the sciences and arts in this world to become more joyful, because that was the essence, not sacrifice. The essence was the essence of celebration or multiplying, which in the cave ages of Christian history, you say, oh, it's not cool. Okay, let it go. And let's get a little loose, because that's where the funky cream is. And you need that to keep on. And then, let it roll. Okay, this is a grab for today, and whoever you are and whatever you do, know that you're being watched by your own imagination. It's in your heart, everything that's recorded. Bye.